Hello, wonderful people. Once again, welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about the enslavement of African people in Libya. But before you meet my in-studio guest, here is today's lineup. My in-studio guest is Swala Bob Manuel, one of the partners at Africa Life Matters. On Public Corner, we take you to a march against enslaving black people in Libya. Then we hear from attendees at the march before we hear from some of the speakers at the march. We return to Public Corner to hear from more attendees, and then we play you out with a song by KC Posse featuring Janae entitled United States of Africa. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. My in-studio guest is Swala Bob Manuel from Africa Life Matters. Hello, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Firstly, what can you tell me about Africa Life Matters? When was it formed and what prompted its formation?
Well, it was formed not too long ago, so it's been about 3 months now. Okay. The prompting of its formation was there was a CNN documentary, or like expose, I would say, that exposed what was going on in Libya in relation to human trafficking and human slavery. Okay. That's what kind of prompted the march and the demonstration. However, this has been something that's been we've been planning for some time. This is something that's not just happened overnight either. This is since 2011. These things have been going on. It's only because of the CNN expose that this has really come to light now. So it's good and it's bad in the fact that it's highlighted the issues, but it's come to this stage, and it's taken a long time for it to come to the public forum. So yeah, Africa Lives Matter has come together really as a focus group for different organisations to come and talk about this and to gather, raise awareness about these human rights violations and atrocities that's going on in Libya.
Okay. Could you please just outline some of your key objectives?
The key objectives, obviously, like I said, is to raise awareness of what's going on and keep it in the public mind, and not just make it just a hashtag that's going to go away, after the whole, the hype has gone down. Secondly, like I said, as a focus group for, the UN, different government organisations, European Union organisations, anything to do with children trafficking, to come to us so that we can dialogue with them and find a way forward. Also, we've also got a voluntary programme that we're starting, which is an initiative to get African people from the diaspora. I mean, it doesn't have to concentrate on African people, but I think that we have a responsibility for those that are back home, our brothers and sisters, to transfer skills that would help them to not just to stay in their countries and help to build up their countries, rather than them having to find a way out, which would put them in danger trying to get to Europe.
CNN brought this to the attention of the world, but it's been going on before CNN brought it to the world. What does that say about our community? What do we have to do to have a bit more control of activities affecting us?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, earlier on in the year, I think it was in February, Ross Kemp did an expose on Libya, and that didn't have as much effect as the short CNN program did. I don't know if it's because CNN obviously is more global, it's international, but what he exposed there was no different from what was happening in CNN. So it was quite surprising to say that CNN was fabricating things. So apart from that, I think that us as African people need to come together to address these issues and become more angry at the fact that this is actually happening in 2017, 2018, that slavery is still happening. There are 700,000 slaves, I think. It's not slaves, sorry. Migrants in, nearly 1 million, basically, migrants in Libya at the moment. Over 5,000 of those are from Nigeria. The rest, maybe a couple of thousand here, a couple of thousand from Gabon or Cameroon or something like that. But Nigeria, that's quite a lot. That's a third of them there. But the Nigerian president hasn't come out to condemn it. There's been no representative of a Nigerian High Commission or anything come out to say, well, this is what we want done. Nothing on that scale. So it's left to the people, really. And us as diaspora that's living outside of Africa, we need to do something, come together, whether it's funds we need, whether it's organising ourselves to actually go to Libya and speak with the authorities there, or something needs to be done. We are not, as I can only speak as a Nigerian. So, before people wanted to attend the march, asking, well, who's organising it? Are they from which tribe? Are they Yoruba? Are they from Igbo or whatever? We need to stop all this tribalism and come together as one people, because that's how we will get things done. We have to end all the separations and not see these divides. It's not even just for African people. We need, that people from the Arab community need to come out and speak against this. People from the white community need to come out and speak against this. It's a humanitarian issue. It's not just an African issue.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I actually attended the march that was organized by Africa Life Matters outside the Libyan High Commission. So let's go have a look at what happened there.
To giving ourselves a big, massive round of applause for supporting today.
Okay, welcome back. That was the march that took place outside the Libyan High Commission. As I said, it was organized by Africa Life Matter. You got quite a good turnout for that march. And I also heard that it took very little time to put that together.
Yeah.
So that was quite impressive.
Yeah, I was personally blown away by the amount of people that turned up. I think there were like a couple of thousand people marching from Belgravia all the way to the Libyan embassy. So we shut down Knightsbridge, the whole road was blocked, and, we were shouting our slogans and we had our placards and it was a peaceful protest as well, which was not amazing. It was great that nothing, yeah, exactly. It was great that was able to happen, and people from all over, people from Birmingham came, and also I must say that it wasn't just in London. We did have one in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Glasgow, and also there was a few scheduled in Washington. I think because of weather that one didn't happen, but in Los Angeles, and it was actually a global movement for that day. So we would, young, old, black, white, there were, people from all denominations were there.
Okay, just wondering, have you made any contact with the Libyan High Commission? If you have, what are they saying about this?
We haven't personally had any contact directly from them. I know that obviously there were articles in the newspaper about it, and they were offered, as newspapers do, they were offered to comment, which they declined to do so. We are still open to speaking to them if they would want to dialogue with us, but you must remember Libya is a failed state. There is no government per se. I mean, who do you actually address, and do they have any control to do anything? The UN and the authorities that do have some kind of influence over there need to address this, and we need to have dialogue with them as well. I mean, it's all good talking amongst themselves and throwing money at the situation, but if the money is going into the wrong hands, which it is, I mean, this whole issue is come about because they're not allowing, or they've had a clampdown on these ships, migrant ships coming from Libya to Europe. So they've thrown money at these Libyan, individuals who have made themselves private security and private prisons. So they are now capturing people that are in these boats and locking them up in these private prisons, then selling them off as slaves to make themselves some extra business. And this is how the whole thing is starting. So it's a big problem that needs to be addressed. I mean, the European Union and European countries are only concerned with we don't want to take any more migrants in, but this is causing a bigger problem, so they need to sort that out, what's happening in Libya. And the only way that can be done as well is to sort out the issues that are happening in Africa as well, that are causing people to get into cars and drive through.
Okay. I mean, if we want to look at this at a wider perspective, is there an historical angle one can come from as to why this is reoccurring?
You mean slavery, or?
Yes, they are the Arabs and what part they might have played in the past. Is there anything that
historically it's racism comes into it, and it's a disrespect of your fellow man, because you can't treat somebody that you feel is your equal as a slave unless you have some kind of disrespect or hatred towards that person. You cannot put someone through something that is inhumane without you stepping back to think, okay, hold on, this is a human being, and this is someone's mother, father, brother, sister. You think that person is subhuman. So there obviously historically there has been slavery, and this has been reoccurring. So this means that we haven't dealt with these issues of racism that are still reoccurring, and obviously there are bigger issues that need to be addressed as well. And obviously we know that Africa Lives Matter cannot be the only people to be addressing these issues. That's why I said we have to come together. There has to be a meeting of minds somehow to find out a way where we can resolve these issues. But I think first of all, as African Lives Matter, we are African focused. So what we are trying to do is to help people in Africa first repatriate them if they are in slavery. Because we've heard terrible stories. People have come to us and said, look, my cousin is in Libya and I've had a phone call and I hear him screaming and these people are demanding money and I have to send £1,000 a month. We don't know where these people are. They have no one to turn to. I mean, who do they go to? So, they need help. They need support. They need finances. So Africa Lives Matter is looking for donations and support from the government for that.
Okay. I mean, in terms of getting this support, it seems quite a daunting task. What have you outlined in terms of how you can navigate Libya to save people? If you had all the money you needed now, is it an environment that you believe you understand enough to begin to save people in it?
Well, that's the thing. There are organisations that are on the ground trying to help, but whether they can help enough, whether they can actually stop migrants from coming there is another story. So it's more about the funding is needed to raise awareness, because many people that are coming from these places, they're being told a lie that they're going to get to Europe. They've got jobs there for them, so they're gathering money from their families to go and take this trip. Maybe they're not even told they're going to be have to pass through Libya. If there was like a widespread campaign in Nigeria, for example, showing all these horrible things that are going on, it's education that people need to know that, look, however bad it is here, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to put my family through that hell. So I believe it's the education that would be the first number one priority to do.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.